Hi, you've landed at Ritualistically Botanica. I'm Mo, and today we're going to talk astrology because that's what I do here. Now, let's talk about the astrological weather ahead. This is the kind you might want to save, come back to, re-listen when something clicks 3 weeks from now and you go, that's what she meant. So sit down, grab your tea, and let's go. Now, by now, rolling into 2026, you figured something out. This year is moving fast and it's stacked. Change on change on change. If you felt like the ground won't quite stay still under your feet, congratulations. You're paying attention. And no, it's not letting up. So let's get into it. Let's put the sky in order because timing matters and astrology does not forgive sloppiness. We are in a node-driven year and people might miss that part. The moon's nodes are not background decoration. They are not extra. They are the spine. They are the karmic axis. They are where time bends and consciousness gets dragged forward, whether it's ready or not. The nodes are the points where the moon crosses the ecliptic, where instinct meets solar will, where memory intersects destiny. That's why eclipses happen there. That's why history turns there. The nodes are entanglement points. You don't pass through them unchanged. Right now, we're still in North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. That alone explains the collective nervous breakdown. South Node Virgo is the old survival script. Control it, fix it, measure it, optimize it, manage your anxiety, and call it responsibility. That's the past pattern. Useful once, toxic when clung to. North Node Pisces is where life is pulling us, whether we agree or not. Flow, trust, sensation, over-calculation, meaning over micromanagement, feeling life instead of dissecting it. Pisces is not weak. It's relational intelligence. It knows you don't dominate water. You move with it. Now, watch how the sky stages this lesson. February 17th, 2026 brings an annular solar eclipse, a ring of fire eclipse in Aquarius. This is a new moon eclipse, a scene change, curtain down, new framework loading, Aquarius rules systems, collectives, technology, ideology, the future we're building. Something exits the stage here, something structural, something that can't survive the next chapter. This eclipse also kicks off the fire horse year. Translation, ignition, speed, risk, no more polite waiting. Fire horse doesn't ask if you're ready, it asks if you're alive. Then February 26th, Mercury stations retrograde in, of course, Pisces, right after the reset, on purpose. This is not about tech glitches. This is about rinsing the mind, dissolving anxiety-based thinking, letting intuition speak louder than fear. Mercury in Pisces rewrites the inner narrator. You don't logic your way through this. You let the water do its work. Then comes the reckoning, March 3rd, 2026 at 3:33. We get a total lunar eclipse, a blood moon in Virgo. This is a culmination, the exposure, the release point. Virgo is stressed. Virgo is overfunctioning. Virgo is, I'll hold it together if it kills me. Under a blood moon, that coping mechanism bleeds out. What you've been managing instead of healing gets revealed. What you've been fixing instead of feeling gets released. This eclipse doesn't punish, it liberates. But liberation always costs something. Now here's the part we may not be clocking yet. The nodes shift in 2026. So in late July of 2026, the moon's nodes move out of Pisces and Virgo and enter North Node Aquarius, South Node Leo. That's a full pivot. We move from healing and surrender into collective responsibility, from emotional overwhelm into systems awareness, from who am I in my pain to who am I in the network. And the South Node in Leo, that's ego addiction, savior complexes, needing applause to feel real, performing identity instead of living truth. The next chapter is not about individual spotlight. It's about shared future, shared voice, shared intelligence. So if you felt like the old world is dissolving, like control isn't working, like stress is no longer sustainable, you're not broken, you're early. The nodes are pulling us forward. The eclipses are clearing the stage. Mercury is washing the mind, and the fire horse is lighting the fuse. You don't stop the tide. You learn how to swim. But wait, we're not done. Let's move forward. No fear bait. just the sky doing what it always does, moving us on, whether we're ready or not. And here's another piece that we can't leave out. It's the part that explains why none of this is random. See, nothing happens in the sky in isolation, ever. Every movement ripples outward, pulling every other body into conversation, including us. And time up there is not linear the way we experience it down here. The sky understands how fragile humans are. That's why it gives previews, test runs, slow initiations. If you're paying attention, you're never blindsided. So go back to November of 2023. That's when Pluto made its long-awaited move into Aquarius. Remember that? It went there for the first time. And even then, it didn't just slam the door behind it. Pluto stepped in, stepped back out, returned to Capricorn, crossed the threshold again, back and forth on purpose, like tapping the glass and saying, "This is coming, wake up." Think about what was happening 2 or 3 years before that, and then think about what's happened since. Social unrest, system failures, technology accelerating faster than ethics, institutions losing legitimacy, people questioning everything they were told was just the way it is. That was a preview. Pluto finally locked into Aquarius after that series of crossings, and that lock-in wasn't about comfort. Pluto doesn't do comfort. Pluto does truth through pressure. And this is where people misunderstand Aquarius. Aquarius is not a glittery fifth dimension slogan. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Remember that? It's not a humanitarian band-aid. Aquarius is revolutionary. It looks at every existing system and says, none of this works anymore. Aquarius is total renovation. Half of Aquarius still carries Saturn, and Saturn comes from Capricorn, structure, rules, consequences. The old world doesn't disappear overnight. It has to be dismantled, repurposed, or it calcifies and cracks. Capricorn is earth. Aquarius is air. That means power is lifting out of physical hierarchies and into networks, information, technology, collective intelligence, roots leaving the ground. That alone tells you everything. Since Pluto touched Aquarius, we've had repeated new moons and full moons activating that sign, rehearsals for what's coming. And now we arrive at this eclipse season, not by accident, but by design. Here's why this one matters, because the moon's nodes are preparing to shift. In July of 2026, as I said, the nodes move from Pisces, Virgo into Aquarius, Leo. That means the future pull, the north node enters Aquarius. Revolution becomes a direction of growth. Collective responsibility becomes unavoidable. And the south node moves into Leo. Ego, performance identity, savior complexes, the need to be special, applauded, centered. That starts draining out. This isn't personal. That's the point. And here's the correction people might miss. The nodes don't flip like a light switch. They open windows, gates, pressure systems. Energy starts flowing before the exact date, and it lands in your life based on where Aquarius lives in your chart. If Aquarius, for instance, rules your fifth house, this can look like creative liberation, new forms of expression, new audiences. If Aquarius rules your sixth house, this can mean radical changes in work, health, daily systems, how labor is structured. Different house, different manifestation, same collective wave. Aquarius is not cozy. It forces adaptation. Sometimes, whether you want it or not, it doesn't ask for emotional consensus. It asks for systemic change. And yes, the nodes will stay in Aquarius Leo for about 18 months. After that, they move into Capricorn Cancer, which reintroduces questions of authority, governance, nationalism, security, and control versus care. That's when you see the pushback, the attempt to reassert old power structures. So you have to stay alert. Don't just think, oh, it's over. It's not. Because then after that, later, they move into Sagittarius Gemini, and the battle shifts into truth, belief, education, media, and narrative itself. See, energy doesn't sit still. So no, this isn't a single event. It's a sequence, a multi-year arc. Pisces taught us to feel again. Aquarius will teach us to think differently. Not like Virgo thinks, not small, not anxious, not obsessed with control. Aquarius thinks in systems, in generations, in futures, in masses. That's why this feels so big, because it is. You're not just living your life, you're living through a redesign of how life is organized. and what life looks like here on earth. And if it feels uncomfortable, rebellious, destabilizing, confusing, that's not a flaw in the process. That is the process. Now, here's a missing piece, which is actually like connective tissue, and how I think this whole message might breathe. So yes, we are officially in the realm of unrest. Those are the waters we've been pulled into. Pisces didn't bring peace the way greeting card spirituality sells peace. Pisces brought feeling, and feeling in a time of collapse is not gentle. It's overwhelming, it's raw, it's grief, empathy, sorrow, memory, longing, and love, all moving at once. And Pisces is very clear about one thing. This will not move forward with Virgo-style resistance, not with tightening, not with control, not with micromanaging fear while calling it responsibility. Pisces resistance looks different. Your resistance comes in flow. Your resistance comes in refusing to dehumanize. Pisces resistance comes in feeding people. It comes in love, compassion, and understanding. And that is much harder than rage. See, rage is fast, hate is easy, blame is convenient. But Pisces says no. Feel it instead. Understand it instead. Remember that we are not separate storms. We are drops in the same ocean, one human ocean. That's the training phase, because Aquarius is not going to care about your feelings. When the nodes shift in July and the future pull locks into Aquarius, the current changes completely. Aquarius is mental systemic code if necessary. It moves like a tsunami, not a wave. It clears, it restructures, it does not pause to soothe. So between now and July, the water is teaching you how to float. After July, the water starts moving fast. And that Aquarian current, it doesn't trickle, it surges. So think 2026, 2027, 2028 as the big wash. Systems destabilizing, old frameworks collapsing, new ones not fully formed yet, that in between space where everything feels unsteady and unfinished. Then somewhere around 2028 into 2029 and possibly 2030, you see the attempt to bring structure back, some of the old structure, the effort to reassert control, to reassert old systems. Some of that will work, some of it won't. And the friction between those two forces is where a lot of tension lives. So yes, we are in for a hell of a time. That's not doom, that's weather. And here's the practical wisdom piece. Find shelter, not bunkers, not isolation. Find what feels safe, familiar, and human. Find your people, your small circle, your chosen tribe, a place where you can stay for a while. Build from there, contribute from there, feed each other, teach each other, care for each other. You don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to carry the whole ocean. You just have to remember how to be a drop that knows it belongs. That's how you survive Pisces style. That's how you endure Aquarius. And that's how you come out on the other side still human. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. Bye now.